have some similarities in a game when you played the first time, then you're going to have some differences too. Like, you not always are going to have the same game. I think in the previous game, if you didn't turn the ball over and you made your free throws, you'd have put yourself in a much better position. So anytime we have to live in defensive transition, and that's a high volume of possessions, where we've been in trouble. It just hasn't happened a lot. But when it's happened, we've been able to recover in some halves going into the next half, or vice versa, kind of hold on. But in this scenario, it wasn't. Like, we actually got back into their lead pretty quickly. If you rewatch the game and you see it, we just never could get it to where we got the lead. We got it back to 1 and 2 possessions. I mean, that was at 11-minute mark. We put ourselves in a good spot at that time, but it took a lot for us to get back in there. So if the game unfolds the same way, making our free throws and taking care of the basketball, is going to be huge. Taking care of the basketball is huge, and making your free throws in any game, guys. You're still out on the court. Like, you got to be ready to not necessarily, like, you can't talk your way into making shots, but you can talk your way into your execution and your understanding what's going on. We have to know what's going on at all times defensively, and then we have to be able to handle their pressure and execute.
Do you stick with Mason in the starting lineup?
We'll see. We'll see there. Both of those guys have been really good for us. Mason's been a little bit better offensively, and Caleb's been a little bit better defensively. But when you look at their overall production across the board, when one's in versus the other, we're more efficient with both of them. Zach has just, enormous size, and where he's improved just as a basketball player, being able to pass, being able to play post D, being able to play ball screen defense. But you also got to understand he's in his 6th year of organized basketball. So he's really on the come when it comes to things of that nature. Like, he's really, made some real strides in that area. Trace has had to, play for 2 different coaches, 2 different systems, so you're learning, right? Everybody learns when they come to college, and then when you have a change sometimes, it takes a little bit of time right there, but they've done a really good job in the last 2 years of getting him the basketball, and, his numbers speak for themselves. We just don't face somebody with that kind of size, that kind of skill, and that kind of quickness. You're not supposed to, when you're Zach's size, you're not supposed to be able to do some of the things he does. And when you're Trace Jackson's Davis size, you're not supposed to be able to do some of the things he does. They're different skill sets and different athleticism and different overall size, but it really puts the defense in a bind. That's why I said to Mike earlier, we don't have a matchup here where it's one guy on Trace Jackson Davis, and they don't have a matchup where it's one guy on Zach Edey. It's just, that's not the way this game's going to unfold. It's going to be Indiana's defense trying to stop Purdue's offense, and vice versa. It's not us trying to just stop Trace Jackson Davis. It's our team trying to stop Trace Jackson Davis. If you do it, there's been a couple people in our league that tried to do it by themselves, and that did not work. It did not work, and it won't work. So you got to throw different things at him, and you got to mix things up, and he's still going to get some things. You just don't want him to get 35 or 20. Right, yeah, you keep your focus on doing your job. You keep your focus on doing what you're supposed to be doing and competing at a high level. But you also have worked really hard to put yourself in this position. Like, this wasn't handed to us. Like, we've worked really hard, and so, reward yourself. But also don't try to hit home runs. Be solid, take care of the basketball, just keep hitting singles and doing the little things. I think it's hard for everybody at this time of the year because everybody just depends on the grind of their schedule. This is where we've gotten a little bit of a break, but it doesn't mean anything unless you play well at 7:30 on Saturday.